If I told you about boxing games in general, a lot of people will go Punch-Out! Straight away, it was a game that really showed off how you could do the sport boxing on a video game system, especially as early as the Nintendo Entertainment System. And with that, we were introduced to this idea of the player taking on iconic fighters. The clever thing about Punch-Out! Was Nintendo took the concept of a sport and made it even more fun, more interesting to a mass audience. With the introduction of Little Mac being the smallest fighter, he would take on different fighters maybe way out of his weight category or completely against the idea and concept of boxing itself. With the influence of movies like Rocky as well, it helped video game companies look at the concept of a boxer taking on characters from different nations, from different parts of the world, all with their own gimmick or their own cheat system maybe, to really mix things up. And Nintendo really brought that to the table here with Punch-Out! And you do fight various characters. But even with this game, Nintendo decided to include a famous celebrity. The famous Iron Mike, Mike Tyson, was originally part of the title game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, so you got to fight the guy himself. Yes, he was a famous boxer anyway, but it was huge at the time to have this as a license and have it as a video game character. And it helped, I bet, sell games, because Mike Tyson was a huge boxer of its time. And as time went on, Nintendo carried on the Punch-Out! Franchise for various systems. The Super Nintendo got one with classic characters and goofy, different concepts of fighters, maybe even some, as I said before, not actually being fully boxing, but even using kicks and throws into their fighting style. Way against the boxing format, but it was something different, something goofy, something interesting. Even generations on from Super Nintendo, Nintendo brought back the Punch-Out! Franchise on the Wii, reliving the character boxing genre. It really is a genre that I think has died out a lot. The ability to box, punch, and have fun with a different cast of cartoony characters. Boxing in general, though, I feel like is a franchise that is just not really applicable to the mass market or the gaming market in general. Something that developers don't really want to work hard on, and maybe something that people don't want to buy into as well. Of course, Punch-Out! Wasn't the only boxing franchise out there that brought character boxing to the markets. Here's another one of an example, Black and Bruised, which had varieties of different concepts, characters, even in this one in particular, having both female and male boxers. Another example, more for modern gaming systems, was the PS3 360 7th gen game, Facebreaker. That, as you can see here, was another game that didn't take boxing seriously. There were different characters, different locations, different fighting styles to mix things up. It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this in general, but also bring up one of the PS2 games I've played in my challenge. It was when I felt that the trailer, it brought back so much of that nostalgic boxing feeling that I hadn't had in ages. This was what we needed, something goofy, characteristic, or boxing in general. There just isn't anything like it, but when I saw this, I got that Punch-Out! Vibe, that idea of goofy characters way over their limits or way over their archetypes, all beating, in this case, the felt out of each other. But I'm Mr. PS2, aren't I? You've come here for the PS2 games I've beaten in my challenge, and that's why we're talking about Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2, a sequel to the first game, Ready to Rumble Boxing, that came out on the earlier generation systems, plus the Dreamcast. The sequel came out as a launch title for the PS2, and involves, as you can see here, loads of different unique characters. Female and male fighters, both fighting it out. It doesn't matter if a female and a male are in the ring together, they will duke it out no matter what. and the man himself, Michael Buffer, reprises his role from the first game, getting paid loads of money for saying those famous words, "Let's get ready to rumble." But here we go. This is the game that I beat, and it is an incredibly unique game for loads of different reasons. So welcome on in to the live footage of my playthrough of Ready to Rumble Boxing. I'll show you bits and pieces of my experience of this game in particular as we go through it. This was my beat requirement when I started up the game. There was a mode called Championship Mode. You could pick from different characters. A Thunder was the title character on the box art. I thought, why not just give A Thunder a go, see what he's like as we go through the Championship Mode. And as the game starts up, you are introduced with a cutscene that is you riding on a bus to the boxing gym. It's like any typical boxing game or movie you may have seen before. You're a nobody, you don't know what you're doing, you're getting chucked in to some rundown old boxing training gym, and you need to make yourself become the #1 world championship through your career. The game is stuck on a calendar time limit. There is only so many days you can train or invest your time and money into on your stat points at the bottom there: strength, stamina, endurance, dexterity. And as you go through the game, you need to manage and juggle this daytime cycle and also take on title fights and prize fights to earn money to help you train better and earn more stat bonuses. We can look at future events. We can see that our prize fight on April 11th will earn us $2,000, but also there is a title fight what we need to beat to rank up that comes up also later on in the calendar month, as you can see here, in about a month's time, April 25th. So we have over a month to train and be able to take on and beat the title fighter to progress on into the game. So the game is full of mini games. There's different training regimes you can take on that increase your stats as you go on, but with each training regime, some stats will go up, some stats will go down. The harder the level of training you do, the more stat bonuses you may gain. But it is all down to how skilled you are at performing these minigames. This minigame in particular is Speed Paddle, where you need to hit the buttons according to when they flash at the screen. I went for level 10, the max difficulty, and the reaction time required for this is pretty brutal. But I thought I'll give level 10 a go straight away and see just how good or bad I can be at keeping up pace and getting the best stat bonuses during the playthrough. And during the first few hours, I'm also learning the other minigames too, which one I'm best at. This is a DDR style game where you have to hit the right buttons at the right time to also level up and get training done. Every minigame has their own little hitch, little mechanic to make it different from the last one, and every time I was trying to do one of these minigames, I was doing a very bad job and screwing up the challenges. And if you do the challenge wrong, you get no real good stat bonuses, and your character is going to really be underdeveloped for later on in the game. That is until I find the minigame out, Rumble Aerobics. Now this one really was the bread and butter, the only one I really relied on, the best one that I was good at doing, and above all, had probably one of the catchiest tunes I've heard in quite some time.
I'm Julie, and I'll be your
As you will be able to hear here while you're
Ready?
doing your minigame.
1, 2, 3. Right, high, left, left, right, right. Your turn. You try. Left, right, right.
Oh my god, you gotta do it to the beat. That's bullshit.
Here I go. High, high, right, low, low. Your turn. You try. High, high, right, low, low. Stop. Here I go.
But in general, this minigame really was the one I was best at. It was a good bop. It does take a while to beat, but I was learning how to do this one and was very good at it. It wasn't really much you had to do. It's a little bit like Simon Says. You have to remember the input that she tells you and follow it and do it to the beat of the song to get the best bonuses. But of course, with a game called Ready to Rumble Boxing, where's the boxing part? Well, we hit April 11th. It was our first prize fight we had to do to earn some of that prize money, and here it was, my first real experience of taking on the game. The game itself has punching moves tied to the face buttons. So you have square for high punch, left, triangle for high punch, right, then X and square for the low left punch and low right punch. You can block with the shoulder buttons, and then there are also special little inputs for other various attacks. You can then press like down and X, for example, to do a hook, as well as other things in between. It's all about that, laying down the combos, laying down the right elements between each attack to knock out your opponent. But also, as you can see here, there is a rumble bar feature. If you activate the rumble feature, you can do these special attacks, special moves to do more damage. The fight is a long one for my first fight, but I'm learning how to do the controls, I'm learning how to survive, I'm learning how to manage my health and my stamina bar, which is, if you need to know, red for the health, blue for the stamina. The more blue bar you have, the more damage you're really doing, and the more recovery you have. But with that all said and done, I do eventually pull off my first victory. I knock down my first fighter, and we get some of that sweet purse money that we needed, while successfully being a decent boxer. As we go on, I get better at the game, and the manual really does help out, because at the back of the manual, if you had it with the game at the time, it has a little bio breakdown of every character, but also tells you, the player, a special move they all have. With the manual this time for Afro Thunder, if you press back, forward, triangle, he does that very unique jump slap attack, which did quite a lot of damage, kept the distance, slam on your enemy with extra damage, and was my bread and butter move throughout the playthrough. It helped the most, it did a lot of damage, and it got me through hairy situations while also dealing quite a bit of damage to my opponents. So as my career went on, I kept my boxing aerobics up to make myself better, stronger, and more resilient. Also, along the way, while you are earning prize money, it can go towards body enhancing drugs. Here is the vitamin program, for example. Consuming that with $10,000 gets you a free boost in stats that it goes towards without having to do any training for a day. But more importantly than anything, we had to kick some serious butt, beating various different fighters from around the world and showing that we are better than them. And the game really does have a nice variety of different cast members. Joey here is your typical gangster, Brooklyn kind of New Yorker, trying to show you that he's the true thug boss out there. Corley the Texan Ranger will also show you his cowboy skills with his quick draw fists and punching you in the guts constantly. But not only that, this game has some celebrity endorsements. One in particular is the towering giant himself. Yes, Shaquille O'Neal. If you thought Shaq Fu was the only fighting game he was ever in or endorsed, be prepared, cause the NBA legend Shaquille is ready to absolutely kick your butt. And as you can see, he is probably one of the biggest, tallest characters in the game. Can't say that. But this was a really humoring surprise to me. It was nice to see that there were celebrities that wanted to get involved in this game and be prepared to be not only beaten up, but beat up other people as well. And I think they did a good job. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal was one of the first guest characters, celebrities I saw in this game. And yeah, he really knows how to hit hard, and they definitely emphasize his true towering might while trying to fight against him. But you saw the thumbnail. Where is he? Well, here he is. The King of Pop, as said by Michael Buffer. Yes, Michael Jackson is an official character in this game. Golden Glove and all. It really is incredible to see this guy in action. But not only that, rumor has it, at least in development for this game, Michael Jackson was heavily involved in this game. He wanted to be involved. They let him motion capture him. He also recorded his own lines. He sounds a little bit different because he decides to have a lower pitch for his character. But I mean, you'd think this is a mod to this day now with fighting games out there. This wouldn't happen, I don't think. You don't really see celebrity characters out of their, you know, safety zone, at least most of the time in video games. And this was such a charming thing to see. Not just in the fact that Michael Jackson is in this game, but he wanted to be involved in this game. And yes, here it goes. Michael Jackson can beat the crap out of you. Or, sadly, for my case, this was very near the end of the career mode. I was kicking the butt of Michael Jackson. Still, wow. Hats off to the dude himself. If he really did get fully involved in this, allowed himself to be beaten up, punched up, getting bruised by people. Hats off to you, dude, because it really was great to see that a game I don't really ever will think will happen, where celebrities will be okay with people getting beaten the snot out of each other. And so championship mode carries on until you reach one full real year cycle on the boxing scene and have to fight the true champion. The champion is RumbleMan, a man of mystery. You don't see much of him until you hit the very, very end of the campaign. So who is RumbleMan? Well, it was a surprise for me for the first time to truly see who he was. Anything unique because it's the final? As Michael Buffer starts to enter the ring and introduce the fighters of the ring.
That's because I am your next opponent.
What? Oh, it's him? Yes. Michael Buffer becomes the roided, rampaging beast that is RumbleMan. I didn't see it coming, and it was a great thing to experience for the final part of the career mode. You do have to be a little careful of RumbleMan. He has some incredibly powerful attacks, including that dirty grab you just saw there, where he will punch you to the living daylights and knock you out. By the way, you seeing here, I wanted to show off, there is an exploit in this game. You can press start, quit to the menu, and take on the opponent again. If you lose, you have to redo training and try to rematch him again. If you lose 3 times, it's actually game over. So to avoid all that drama, you can press start, reload, and go back into the fight until you have beaten up the character you're facing. But in general, I get my revenge eventually as Afro Thunder steal away RumbleMan's glory and become the champion of the world. That's right. Eat that, everybody. I defeated every one of y'all, and I am now the true champ. And with that, the credits start rolling. One full loop of championship mode is all you need to do to get the credits that you may desire. It's what a lot of challenge runners like myself do try to find, and it was great to see not only credits, but to see the staff behind it. I love seeing these like behind the scene development photos as I enjoy watching the people who worked hard on this game. Various members of staff, even staff babies that we always know and love in all the credits, are also shown off. And then the special thanks is also included. There is Shaquille O'Neal himself. You can see he was actively involved at least some point in the development, which is nice to see. And above all, once the last few credits roll, there is one very, very big thanks to truly prove that it must be true what I've heard, and that is they give a very special thanks to Michael Jackson. So there you go. It must be that fact that Michael very much was involved in the game. You don't see a lot of him in like the production videos about it. I'd love to have been the fly on the wall to see how much he was involved in. But there, special thanks to Michael for being a part of this game. But for me, credits was not enough to say that I was done with this game. One of my other rules is sometimes I add extra levels of challenge or completion goals or a sense of value for money in my playthroughs, as well, especially because I'm archiving the entire PS2 library and its games. I wanted to unlock all the characters in the game. And to unlock the characters in this game, it was a very simple one. I just had to do multiple different arcade playthroughs with different characters. So this was going to be a great thing for me. Not only was I going to pick different characters, but also unlock the other characters that were hidden away that weren't shown off in career mode. The one problem about arcade mode is that there are limited continues. You can only have up to 5. So if you run out of continues, you have to restart arcade mode from the very beginning. It could be a little bit challenging, but I was in it for the long haul because I got to see characters that I never saw before. This is an example of one of the characters hidden away, Roblox, which I think is a really awesome design. It's basically a boxing punching bag machine with actual jiggle head physics every time you punch him in the face. It was stuff like this I would have missed out if I just decided to say that's the end of this playthrough, which I didn't want. I want to show you guys as well as experience if I can. If it's not a hard thing and time-consuming thing, I will go for it. I will go the full hog and get as many characters unlocked as I can. I'd have done this as a kid, and I wanted to do it now. Every final round would finish on the man that was RumbleMan, so you had to be careful about that. But that was the only real thing. Make sure you don't use up all your continues, and make sure that you knock out RumbleMan before RumbleMan knocks out you. And every time you do complete a run, you're sent back to the main menu. You can go back into arcade mode, and the next character portrait character is added to your ever-growing roster of characters. Freaky Deaky was one we unlocked, and was one of the fighters I really enjoyed using throughout my runs later on. During arcade mode, there is one character in particular I was very interested in though, GC Thunder. Now, apart from the name, the looks of this character pretty much remind me of another musical legend that is Prince. Now, there is no full confirmation that they wanted Prince to be in this game as well, but it might as well have been Prince. Maybe they were this close to getting the deal so Prince could be another musical boxer in the game, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But just look at this guy. He always turns up as the second last fighter in arcade mode, and I mean, it couldn't be any closer to the music legend himself. Maybe it fell through, like I said. Maybe he didn't want his name to be used on this game, unlike Michael. But there you go. Still, this is another character that is really... he honestly kicks a lot of ass as well. This guy is definitely more harder than RumbleMan if you're not careful. His combos and attacks are so brutal. If you give him the chance, he will knock you square out. But it was nice to unlock these secret characters and then play as them. Shaquille O'Neal was another one of the guest characters I was able to unlock and fully embrace my inner giant by being the tall guy himself and kicking a lot of butt. It was nice to see different combos, different specials, different taunts, and have fun with this game. That's what I love to do in this challenge, is to have fun. And while I was going through slowly enjoying every character, it was a good time. My arcade playthrough would usually be playing as a character I unlock the character with the character I'm playing as, and then play as that character next. The unlock requirements for each character in this game are really simple. Beat arcade mode once to unlock character 1, beat arcade mode twice to unlock character 2, and so on. So every playthrough could be a different one with the new characters we had. And after you've beaten the game about 9 times and unlocked 9 different characters, there are 2 characters that the box art doesn't talk about or the manual doesn't talk about. It's very hidden, and these are definitely 2 unofficial fighters in name. This is more for the parody reasons, but yes, in this game you can play as the president, Bill Clinton. Except for name alone, they call him Mr. President. This is an incredible thing that I really don't think you would see in video games today. I couldn't expect Trump to ever be allowing you to use his likeness, or any president in general, to kick his butt, beat the living crap out of him. But here we go. This is a representation of the president of then, Bill Clinton, voice dubbed by a sound-alike, and you get to play as him and fight as him. And they really did give him some voice lines to really add to the parody of his inclusion, insane as it is.
I'm gonna roll you tighter than a cigar. Two-thirds vote says I'm gonna whoop you pretty good.
There are even some lines I really don't think Clinton would have vetted if he heard what the voice-alike did for the character. Oliver's surplus.
Ring girls here, huh? Gonna spank you, baby.
So yes, you can take Clinton all the way through an arcade run and make him become the new champion. But did you know there is one more character that you unlock in arcade mode if you beat it with this character as well? Well, what could you top off with the president as a fightable character? That's right, why not double down on your political figures by having the First Lady, yes, Hillary Clinton, as the other unlockable character. This really is incredible to see, and yes, also another sound alike, really laying in on the comedic factor for the character. Okay. Oh.
Don't just stand there. That's the vice president's job.
So as one last hurrah, I use Hillary's almighty right hook to make sure she kicks ass and becomes the last champion of the run. Annoyingly, there is one more character to unlock, but the requirements for that character is beating championship mode with all the fighters. The last character is RumbleMan, and it truly would have been too much of a grind to get this one. As you can see, there's a start on Afro Thunder, but to get the last secret character, you have to beat the game championship mode, which takes about averagely 2-3 hours with each one of these fighters. It was going to be a long grind, and one I really didn't want to do. I did everything else though and was very happy with it. But that's where the power of cheats come in. Yes, with cheat codes available, after I'd beaten the game, I decided to do a little cheat showcase and show off some of the cool hidden features of the game. The first one being obviously playing as RumbleMan himself and enjoying being the bulky, buff Michael Buffer himself, kicking absolute crap out of anyone. But there are some other great little cheats, as you can see here, with the same different cheats active. There's secret costumes. You can make the RumbleMan become a snowman as a holiday bonus, and a lot of other characters have holiday bonus outfits too. It really is nice to see the goofy different outfits that you can give the characters and truly see the different assets they wanted to flaunt off with their choices. Some of them looking downright badass and completely changing the look of them. As you can see, the robot punching bag machine becomes a mini little alien controlling a robot instead. Great attention to detail and stuff I really wish you see more now. You need to pay for all this now, pay DLC and all this different stuff. And it's nice to see old school game design with cheats and working hard, unlocking cool content you otherwise wouldn't have access to. You can also change the in-game clock to do some unique different design choices for the arenas. I quickly changed the clock to St. Patrick's Day, and as you can see here, not only does the referee become like a mini leprechaun, but also the St. Paddy's Day message is written on the ground. But after all of that, I really was happy with my playthrough. I showed off everything I wanted to show off. I unlocked characters, I beat a career mode. It's what I want to do sometimes with these fighting games. I don't feel like you would buy a fighting game, beat it with one character, and never play it again. The whole point of a fighting game is to see different fighters, play different fighters, especially in some fighting games where they have multiple different endings. I want to try and unlock the different endings, or at least unlock as many characters as I can without ridiculous grinds or impossible feats I would never be able to do. And this was a real fantastic game in my opinion. It's a launch title game as well. The game was already out on Dreamcast, also got a PS1 release, but this being a launch title really, I think, was a great game. I think this is still a good game now. If you like the look of it, you'll have a heck of a good time with it, because it's just got so many different fun things about it that I really miss in modern gaming. But there you have it. Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2 on the PS2. Give it a go if you liked it. I really enjoyed this, and there are a few other boxing games, not only the mainline real sim-like games like Knockout Kings and Fight Nights Round 3 and whatnot that are on the system, but then some of the more character fighters. Black and Bruised is one as an example, and then there are some other fighting games too that hopefully bring some unique fun aspects that will make me smile all the way through. It was also crazy to see some endorsements like Michael being heavily involved in this, Shaquille probably get involved too, we saw some photos of him, and then the more shady, definitely did not allow the rights for the Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton inclusion, especially with the lines they used. But I hope you guys enjoyed what I think is a great game on the system. Definitely give it a go if you want to. But thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end of this credits. Thank you everyone though for checking out the video. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next one where we talk about all things PS2 that I have beaten in this epic adventure of my challenge. Thanks again everyone.